one being in the streets 5 days a week. Hope that wasn't Nolan. I just want to roll it up, throw it over there. But I really do think it's going to involve getting inside of our communities and getting the work accomplished. Yes, ma'am.
I read on the internet not too long ago that we really have kind of two issues here. We have high unemployment, but there are jobs begging for people, technical jobs. We don't have education. And I don't know if we can, but I think we can make a start. These people need, and these people need some way to get the people who need the jobs educated to do the jobs that need the people.
That's a good point.
It's a big job, and I've seen advertisements on PBS that they're located in the aerospace center.
Basically, well, it's pretty much known as now the capital of aerospace. But yeah, to expound on that.
And so, what do we need to get people who need it to qualify to do the jobs that are needed? I mean, I'm sure they can't all be PhD level. You know, and I think job training is really a big deal. People who get them laid off by fired and left by big corporations. We don't have that, those basic mom and pop places for them to fall back on anymore like we used to, because everything's been huge.
And, you know, and like we were talking about, some of our volunteers that have those educational experience, have those degrees, have volunteered to, once we get going, once we get boots on the ground, like I said, it's, you know, slow growing process, but we get them involved with it and to teach those residents some of those skills that will be necessary for those technical jobs. Just further proof that residents caring for each other is what's going to lead to the success of this city in the long run. You know, Brandon, so many people, for every negative email that we received, I must have received 20 or 30 positive emails about what we're trying to do and what we're trying to get accomplished. And it won't be an overnight process, but it's going to take everybody working together for a better, safer city.
She mentioned a good point about you know, how we have a lot of IT jobs, and then manufacturing is obviously dying. It's dying, you know, in America. I work in manufacturing. I actually worked at Air Force and Technology at Pat. I mean, we have in Area B where I work, which is basically the R&D area. We have AFRL, Air Force Research Laboratories. We have AFIT, which are students that are becoming, getting their doctoral degrees in engineering, and they're rocket science. That's basically what they are. I'm surprised that we can't attract more aerospace R&D firms to this area with that such a, you know, we have the largest Air Force research laboratory anywhere, you know, right here in Dayton. We don't really see any aerospace R&D companies coming in here, which is kind of surprising.
That would definitely be something to be looked at as far as luring into the area. Those technical jobs associated with the more technical jobs associated with the aerospace industry. Like I said, we're sitting on a wealth of resources within this region alone. A great deal of water to attract for the companies. The fact that we are known as the aerospace capital. You know, luring that right business in there, because most people, when they think of flight, what they think of North Carolina, first in flight. That's what they say. No, we all know that not to be the case. But anyway, North Carolina has done such an outstanding job of marketing that most people automatically say, well, that's the perfect place of aviation, North Carolina. No, wrong. So, you know, that's something else that we can utilize to advertise our city in a positive light. The fact that we are home of aviation. You're absolutely correct. Does anybody else have any thoughts as to, yes, sir?
Maybe I could address a couple of these things. Our rich history, the aviation, that needs to be built on heavily. And I can speak for the education aspect of that. I teach high school and I also teach at Brett's College, which is a more career-oriented college. I teach composition classes for various types of students. So that needs to be helped out a lot, and I don't even know where to begin with that. But in addition to that, I also am heavily active in a volunteer organization. It's through St. Vincent de Paul Homeless Shelter. And a couple of friends of mine actually started through Rice State University a tutoring program where we went down there and physically built a room for the kids to be tutored, and we've supplied it with computers and tutors there 4 days a week, actually. So I think in addition to that, we should have some cooperation among all these organizations. And I think that this organization, especially since we're all just citizens getting together, we could be that in between, that mediator to make the different steps and, you know, inform people of everything and get maybe the leaders of all these different groups together in a forum and discuss this in addition to all the citizens, so that everybody is getting their ideas out there together. You know, more cohesive, because everything, as you're speaking about, is kind of here and here and here. If we can create cohesion among all the different entities, that right there is the biggest step. Because I mean, all these people are working for something, they're just doing it separately. So we can just get together and bring it together. That would be a big help.
Absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. You know, we're not going to just fight for our own piece of the puzzle, our own piece of the pie, so to speak. We're going to work with those agencies. One thing that I would like to do later on is set up a city-wide community care hotline where residents can call in if they have a question on any social service that exists in the city. Where do I go for this help? Where do I go for this? You could point them in the right direction and point them to where they can get that help that they need instead of them out flapping.
It exists. Not
Not a lot of people utilize it.
I didn't know about it this year.
I've been around for 7 years. And it was one of the things I brought up in the debates. The system's been around for 7 years, but as a party board member, I wasn't even told that. I heard it through somebody at a church meeting. Instead of between the county and United Way, it's called 211. It's a social service hotline.
Right. So it's just a matter of you know, things like that being utilized in our city, letting people know where that's at, where they can turn to, what they got to do to get the help that they need, because not a lot of people know. You take, for instance, our home, we'll go back to the subject of homeless, or homeless veterans, for example. Okay, we got a lot of homeless veterans. Do you know why we got a lot of homeless veterans? Okay, you got a lot of homeless veterans due to discharge status. All right? A lot of your Vietnam, Korean War veterans you see out there on the streets, they suffer from PTSD. PTSD wasn't diagnosed as an actual problem for vets until 2002, 2003. So guess what? If you were a vet in Korea, you were a vet in Vietnam, and you did your time, you came back over, maybe you got in a little trouble, you got kicked out for a bad conduct discharge, they didn't recognize PTSD as being common with that. Those discharge statuses are now for them bad conduct. They were not upgraded. A certain amount of time has elapsed, and they can't upgrade those statuses. So that's why you have a lot of homeless veterans. One, they can't receive the benefits that they need, that they are entitled to. Not a lot of people know that, but that's what it's going to take. For example, some of our homeless veterans won't get it done off the street, and that's one thing which I'm very, very, very passionate about. Because those guys have risked their life in defense of this country, defense of our communities, and now they're sitting on the streets homeless. That's something that disgusts me. It's something which I, seriously, am going to work my hardest to fix. I mean, I can talk about that subject all day long, and homelessness shouldn't exist in our society that we live in today. It shouldn't. We are in the 21st century. We have the technology. We have the residents that can do this. We have the people that can work together. It starts with caring for your neighbor, and it starts with working for them for a better city. If you see that your next door neighbor is struggling and you have the ability to help that person out, help that person out. It's that simple. If you have an opportunity where you can be impacting someone's life, whether you give them $1 or whether you give them a can of food, help that person out, because it starts with kind deeds. That's where it all starts at. Our country got so far off track as far as people out for their own agenda and not caring for the neighbor, not caring for those within the community, and that's where the problems